Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about the books that I read in the month of February. I only read 2 books this month, but that's okay. They were both really good and I'm excited to talk to you guys about them today. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you end up enjoying it. So the first book that I want to talk about is called Looking for Me by Beth Hoffman. I think I gave this 4 stars on my Goodreads, which is also listed down below if you guys want to follow me on there. So this book is about a girl named Teddy, this is based out of Charleston, and she's from Kentucky, and sometime in her, I wouldn't say childhood, she was like in her 20s, her brother went missing. He just like walked out the door and never came back, and they just never knew what happened to him. And so it's about her whole family dynamic and just stuff going on in her life. She's an antiquer in Charleston, and so basically she just left and the connections with her family were in disarray, and then something happens with her mom and she just learns more about her mom and what her mom was feeling during that time when her brother left and just stuff like that. It's just a really good book. It's really easy to read. I actually had a subscriber say that I need to read this book, so thank you for that. Beth Hoffman's book, Saving CC Honeycutt, I think is what it's called, is probably in my top 5 favorite books that I've ever read. I love that book so much, so go check that out as well. But this was pretty good. It's not as good as Saving CC Honeycutt, but it was still a good book, easy read, and yeah, real good chick lit basically. So the next book I read took me forever to read. It's called Half the Sky, Turning Oppression into Opportunity for Women Worldwide. This is by Nicholas Kristof and Cheryl Wooden? I'm not sure. This took me a long time to read. I started this book, I don't know, probably in January. So I typically finish books like within a week and a half. And this took me like over a month to read. And not because it was bad, but because it was so good and very difficult to read, in that what they were talking about was very sad and just really weighed heavily on me. I have always been very pro-women, very much women's rights, women's equality, and stuff like that. And so I had several friends say, you need to read this book, like you're gonna love it. And so while I was reading it, of course, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I wish every single person in the world would read this book. It is very hard to read, and there were definitely times I wanted to cry, and it was just, it really opened my eyes. Like I knew about things that were happening to women on the other side of the world, in very poor countries, but I guess I just, you know, when you live in America, you just kind of assume everybody lives like you, and that is not true at all. And so just like reading about it and just seeing what's happening to women overseas is horrible. And I don't want to get into it and tell y'all too much, but just I think everybody needs to read this book. I gave it 5 stars, but I would give it more. I learned a lot, and now I'm even more just like, oh my gosh, like we need to help women, we need to educate them, and just, I don't know, we need to do whatever we possibly can to help these women that are going through these horrible things overseas. We need to do something about it. So anyways, yeah, I really liked it because they told so many different stories of women that they've met over there. They did a lot of research for this book, and I liked that. So they would tell the story of what happened to women, and then they would end the chapter with an organization that is over there that's doing good, and how it got started and how it's helping women, like the story that we just heard. A lot, like it is not, like I wouldn't recommend kids reading this, or even young teenagers. Well, maybe like high schoolers, but nothing younger than that, just because some things in here are very graphic. And but there's just a lot of talk about rape and AIDS and just brothels and prostitution and stuff like that. And it's it is one of the best books that I've ever read, and I'm going to make my mom read it, and I'm definitely going to make my husband read. I'm not going to make him read the whole thing because he has a ton of books that he wants to read, but I definitely want him to read at least 1 or 2 chapters just so he can understand some things that are going on and why I advocate for women and just am all over that. And I think that people just need to know this. Like, a lot of the information in here I didn't know until I read it. So anyways, yeah, love this book. It's called Half the Sky: Turning Oppression into Opportunity for Women Worldwide. And basically what I took from it was that we need to educate women everywhere, including the United States, but mainly just like out of the U.S. country, but like overseas, and we need to educate them, and that is going to help them as much as we possibly can. So yeah, I liked that they had, like, they told you things that were wrong, but they also kind of helped you understand, like, what, because everyone says, well, what can we do about it, you know? And they gave so many different organizations that they have thoroughly investigated and talked to them and stuff like that to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So when I was reading this, I kept like a list on my phone of all the organizations they talked about, so I could go online and give to them and donate and just kind of see what they're all about. So really, really, really like this book, and I think everybody who is watching this should read this book. So those are the only 2 that I read in the month of February, just because that last book took me so long to finish. I have started another book, but I have not finished anything else. So make sure you come back at the end of March or beginning of April. I'm not sure when I'll get that video posted, but I will be talking about several other books that I'm reading. I have so many books to read, as you can see behind me. I just like have a ton of books, so super excited about that. Leave in the comments down below if you have read either of those books, and leave a comment down below of any other books I need to check out or books that you're loving right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.